slowly, but still time is running out.
Hello friends, Matt here, and today I'm taking a look at one of my favorite discs against a disc that I actually like a lot throwing, a pretty new disc, and that is the Streamline Flare versus the Thought Space disc Omen. Now, the Thought Space line is widely known to be molded at the same facility by MVP that the Streamline ones are, and I believe it is possible that these molds may share some components. So let's take a look at these guys. Line those up and get a good look at the profile. If you look at the bottom wing, it's more or less indistinguishable. They are at the same angle, the same exact like PLH. The Omen maybe has the tiniest bit of lift on the shoulder, and if you look super close, it tapers a little bit more right here at the lip. Now that could be a different top component, or it could just be shrinking from what is a slightly different polymer than they have done the flare in before. So we have the Cosmic Neutron plastic, which typically molds up like very flat with a tiny bit of shoulder. This one's actually not the flattest one I have, but it's pretty darn close, and super overstable. And this guy here is beautiful sparkly plastic with a little bit of shoulder, not domey at all, but tiny bit of rise there, and just not quite as flat, but really close. So I took these guys out to a couple different courses to give a good impression, like, are they the same? Are they different? The flares numbers are 9, 4, 0, 3.5. And the ones for the Omen are 9, 4, 0, 4. So these guys kind of agree that they're very similar. And taking them out to the field, I kind of agree. Let's check out these throws. Out at Deerfield, hole 9, taking this wide hyzer line with the flare. Has a nice skip up there and right into the circle. Same line with the TSA Omen on a little bit of a crow hop, and it skips up, not quite as well, but it's still inside circle 2, push a little straight. Over on 11, taking this really wide hyzer line, the flare gets through, and just the edge of the circle short. The Omen actually, this is the perfect line right there, but it hits a tree and just gets a little short. On 12, pumping this wide line on the outside, getting a big skip of the flare, and puts it to the right of the basket in the circle. Same line with the Omen. It was able to hold straight a little longer and then pops hard, and then it settled quickly right by the basket. On 13, flare was a little bit cooked, but I got it up there and had an easy putt. The Omen actually was way too much disc for this hole. I took a little off, and it still comes through, hits the back of the basket, then goes out of bounds in the road. Over to Etowah on hole number 6, pumping the flare on that perfect inside line, skips up, and it's got about a 10-foot putt. The Omen, same line, but it doesn't fade soon enough and pushes straight, and it's kind of a puddle long. Over to hole 19, putting the flare through that gap, fading over, and it's in the circle a little bit right side. Near identical shot with the Omen. The line does a funky thing here, but it's in the circle as well. So as you can see, I had some really good throws with both of these discs, and I like them both a lot. I carry 2 to 3 flares in my bag most of the time. It's my main forehand driver between like basically 300 and 400 feet most of the time. And some of the holes I threw them on are ones I would throw a flare on in our local leagues and tournaments a lot. So it's a good way to test out how the Omen would stack up. Now the Omen actually had some great shots. Some of them, the result was better than the flare. Some of them wasn't. I found it to be the tiniest bit less stable. And that could be the plastic, that could be the fact that it's got that little bit of shoulder that makes them not quite as flat. It's a gorgeous disc. I don't know if you can see, it's got some sparkles through the plastic there. And I'd love to have a Proton flare. The only Proton run of flare that I know exists was a lab second run that's like pretty domey and not quite what you would typically want feel-wise out of a flare. But Really like both of these a lot, depending on what you like aesthetically. You know, they're a little bit different vibe. Streamline's got that like always clean, either circle or triangle stamp, really nice lines, and they're pretty inexpensive. Not as cheap as they used to be. Flares used to be 12 bucks, and now even usually 15 or 17. And the Omen, I think I paid 17 or 18 for. Got it from my sponsor at Full Blast, so I got a little bit of a discount. And these guys, you know, are also doing a good job because they're the same guys that do the good work. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one.